If there's one philosophy that can help you rewire your brain and escape life's matrix, then that's Stoicism. Don't believe me? Ask the man who used Stoicism to master himself and conquer the whole world. This man is today known as Marcus Aurelius, and he was a beast of self-discipline and cleverness. If life has levels, then Marcus Aurelius was on level 100, and he was replaying the game with his own rules from on point onwards. Specifically, he found 15 Stoic cheat codes he followed relentlessly to fully master himself, gain unlimited money, fame, and power, and become a tower of inner peace and self-discipline. His message is clear. Stop arguing what a good man should be one. Bonus tip. These tips start from the least important one all the way up to the most important one. Let's begin. Love your fate. The Stoics believed that a universal guiding force was pulling them, and all of us, toward what is destined. They knew God had a plan, and they were part of it. The thing is that when we have our own plans, we try to fight with God's bigger plan, failing to realize this battle has only one winner, and it's not us. They compared this idea to a dog being pulled by a cart. We are the dog. We can either bark and resist the pull, struggling with the inevitable, or we can accept the pull, enjoying the journey of our destiny, while sticking the tongue out the car window. Nietzsche, who hated the Stoics, agreed that loving your fate can eliminate 99% of human suffering. In his words, amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, but love it. The Stoics chose to embrace and enjoy the path they had been given. They believed we could either love our destiny and go with it, or resist it and struggle. There's no greater harmony, Marcus Aurelius said, with being in tune with everything, with accepting your destiny and making the best of it. Find the good in your situation, and if you haven't found it yet, keep looking. It's there. Focus on your response. Ordinary people are stupid. They try to control everything. You don't control what happens to you, but you always control what you do about what happens to you. This is what happened to Marcus Aurelius when his best friend tried to start a civil war and take over the throne. Marcus knew these things happen and he was prepared. See Law 1. He handled the matter with wisdom and courage. That's why people loved him. He wasn't being irrational, but solved any problem within minutes, because he focused on only what he could do about it. Think about a recent setback or adversity you've faced. Did you let it define you, or did you rise above it? Your response is your power. In every situation, you have the ability to choose your response. Is it bravery or courage? Going to the gym or watching Netflix? Living like a loser or creating a life worth remembering? The world may have changed in the almost 2,000 years since Aurelius's time, but human behavior hasn't. Every day there are people and things that can annoy and distract us, but we have it in our power to not let that happen. It all depends on our response. Don't take responsibility for other people's behavior. Take responsibility for your own. Choose your influences wisely. Imagine that you're inside Marcus's room in Rome. On the right, you have his Stoic mentor, Junius Rusticus. On the floor below, you have the philosopher Sextus Empiricus. In his library, you see the life-changing book of Epictetus on how to build an iron mindset, and Cicero's book on how to influence the masses with your speech. The essence is that this man paid great attention to the information he let enter his mind and the associations he made. If you read Meditations, you'll notice that the first 20 pages are just Marcus praising his friends and writing down how each of them helped him become the man he was. He was on top of the world, and to stay there, he had to get rid of distractions and fake friends who wanted to see him fail. Seneca, another great Stoic, surrounded himself with wealthy people, and at one point, he was worth $300 million in today's money. You can't choose your parents, but you can certainly choose your friends and role models, he said. The company you keep is like the air you breathe. It has a profound impact on your well-being. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they pushing you further and offering advice, or do they become envious when you mention the goals you have accomplished? If the second is true, you might want to reconsider those friendships. Seek challenges. Marcus Aurelius quickly understood why it's stupid to view challenges as terrible incidents. He lost 8 of his children, was away from his family for 18 years fighting a bloody war, and had very ill health. He was faced with a decision: either blame God and have a victim mentality, or become twice as determined to prove fate that no matter what she did, he wouldn't be broken down. Marcus knew that growth doesn't happen in comfort zones, So he chose option B. He would probably urge you to do the same and ask the girl out, start the business and shoot the shot. When life throws lemons at a Stoic, not only doesn't he complain, but he laughs, makes a lemonade and says cheers. What stands in the way becomes the way, he used to say to his friends to motivate them. The moment of difficulty is when we uncover our true potential, what we're made of. Epictetus said that difficult times reveal to the man who he really is. Will you be scared by what you'll see when trouble knocks on your door, or will you fight like a warrior philosopher? Think about a challenge you've been avoiding. It might be a new project at work that seems daunting, a physical fitness goal that feels out of reach, or perhaps a personal fear you've been scared to face. Embrace it, get at it, because that's when you're moving closer to your ideal self. Remember, a Stoic never takes a step back but moves forward and says, bring it on. Say yes to what matters. Look, Stoicism is a highly demanding philosophy, because life is demanding. But in a world filled with distractions, it's essential to say yes to what truly matters and avoid everything that will ruin your growth. Snacks, porn, OnlyFans, social media, new shiny products. Wherever you look, your attention is taken away. Your brain is like a little child wanting what's easy. It doesn't care that you want to become a Stoic and master yourself. It just wants to sip cocktails on the beach. But every time you say yes to something it doesn't matter, you're saying no to something else that does matter. Consider your daily choices. Are they aligned with your long-term goals and values? Remember that it doesn't matter how many things you do or hours you work, but the impact you create. A Stoic must learn to think like a rich person. He leverages his time and hires other people to do jobs for them. Marcus Aurelius had appointed generals to handle manual tasks. He wasn't feeding his horse. He wasn't cleaning his house or clothes. He wasn't preparing his food. He focused on his only goal, becoming an extraordinary human being. He thought like a rich person, because he was a rich person. Time is our most valuable resource, so make sure you're dedicating yourself to endeavors that align with your purpose and values. Turn the other cheek. As an emperor, Marcus Aurelius was both criticized and praised, but he learned to not be affected by either. He observed human nature and often wrote about it in his reflections on life. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and unfriendly. If someone despises me, Marcus Aurelius said, that's their problem. Mine is not to do or say anything despicable. If someone hates me, that's their problem. Mine is to be patient and cheerful with everyone, including them, ready to show them their mistake if they listen, and ready to accept the situation if they don't. People will never meet our high expectations of them, so before letting their behavior evoke our emotions, let us resort back to what is within our control. What virtue can we practice in that moment? This is the way to becoming a better Stoic and a better person. The problem is that oftentimes we fight with fate instead of loving it. Never stop learning. People of Rome were amazed when one man asked Marcus Aurelius where he was going on a hot Sunday morning. I'm going to Sextus the philosopher to learn that which I don't yet know. The emperor of Rome was still a student, and the citizens of Rome were too busy watching sadistic games at the Colosseum and organizing orgies. Are you seeking knowledge and skills that can help you grow and adapt? Remember, learning is a lifelong journey, and every bit of knowledge gained makes you more adaptable and resilient in a rapidly changing world. Consider this: the world is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and staying static is not an option. Embrace continuous learning, whether it's acquiring new skills, reading, or seeking out new experiences. By doing so, you'll equip yourself with the tools and knowledge needed to thrive in an ever-changing landscape and become a valuable asset for any business. Develop your rational mind. Marcus found it extremely hard to get out of bed. He was bat-line with himself, who had more control over his environment than most, was also the pen behind these lines. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoic mind is supposed to be a fortress. Nothing can get in unless you allow it to. Marcus teaches that our mind is a thing that controls itself completely and is separated from the world. It cannot be affected by events unless it makes itself be affected. Every appearance is the result of what the mind wills it to appear to be, and the mind makes itself exactly what it is. Marcus knew that our ability to reason is what sets us apart from the animals and is an important power that we must use to the fullest. Your perspective defines you. Marcus Aurelius observed a sad truth. Everyone categorizes events, people, and experiences as either good or bad. This is a habit of weak people. Imagine failing in one of your business ventures. You feel hopeless and sad. You label it as a bad event. Later that year, however, you find another opportunity where you apply what you learned in your past so-called failure. This time, you succeed. Looking back, was it actually a bad event? No, it was just an event. By labeling events as either amazing or awful, you divide your whole life into two extremes. Don't allow yourself to be either very happy or very sad. It's possible not to have an opinion about everything, says Marcus Aurelius. Say, I don't know how things will turn out, so I better shut my mouth up and deal with the task at hand. There is no such thing as a bad event. You decide what events mean to you. Some will cry when they get rejected by a woman they like, but you feel motivated to learn from the experience and apply what you learned the next time. Same situation, different perspective. The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, said Aurelius. Remember that. Stop complaining. We have a choice. Do we focus on the ways we have been wronged, or do we use what we've been given and get to work? Marcus was very strict with himself. He may had great responsibility and a whole empire to manage, but he told himself, don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself. Take responsibility for everything that happens in your life. If you keep waiting around for someone to rescue you or come fix your problems, then you will never move on with your life. Instead, you will sit in a vicious cycle of doing nothing because you feel like the world owes you something. Regardless of the circumstances you have been given, you need to start now. The Stoics had a poker analogy for this. In life, as in poker, not the person with the best cards, but the person who plays his cards the best, wins. Step 1 should be to not be heard complaining in front of others, but our brains are smart enough to detect that we are still thinking those negative thoughts internally. So step 2 is to take it a step further and stop complaining even to yourself. If you can't do anything about the problem, then move on. You will be amazed how greatly your quality of life improves when you remove complaining from the equation. This isn't an overnight change. It takes work. If it was easy, anyone would be a Stoic. Adapt to change. Marcus Aurelius' strongest philosophy comes when he speaks on the eternally changing nature of the universe. He reminds us that all of us will die. However, we only ever lose the present moment because that is all we ever have. Nobody loses more by dying early. If you died young, then this means that this is when you were supposed to die, so you lost nothing, because your future wasn't supposed to exist. The longest and shortest life will end the same way and be finished for the same eternity. He also reminds us that we could die at any moment, and we should live it to the fullest while we still can, not to live as if you had endless years ahead of you. Death overshadows you. While you're alive and able, be good, said Marcus. The only thing constant in life is change. Nothing lasts forever. Remember that. No one can harm you without your permission. If you're upset because someone wronged you or you met an evil person, Marcus Aurelius would tell you, you know that the world contains evil people too, right? Good, you just met one of them. Why do you complain like a little bitch? Marcus reminded himself to not be upset by the misdeeds of others, but to expect them like rain. He believed that people do bad things out of ignorance of what is good and evil, and that we should forgive them for their errors even when they harm us. Causing harm in return is not an option for a Stoic. He knows that by taking revenge, he's doing more harm than good. If someone kills your child, for example, even if you kill the man who did this, your child will still be dead. The best revenge is to not be like your enemy, Marcus Aurelius said. We can't control other people, nor should we try to. It's stupid to try to escape other people's faults, says Marcus Aurelius. Just try to escape your own. A Stoic is someone you can scream in front of his face and still remain unfazed. He knows that only one thing can truly harm him: abandoning his moral responsibilities. Use death to your advantage. Let each thing you would do, say, or intend be like that of a dying person. Death hangs over you. Don't behave as if you are destined to live forever. What's fated hangs over you. You will only get one shot at today. You have only 24 hours with which to take it, and then it is gone and lost forever. Will you fully inhabit all of today? Will you call out, I've got this, and do your very best to be your very best? What will you manage to make of today before it slips from your fingers and becomes the past? When someone asks you what you did yesterday, do you really want the answer to be nothing? Marcus took long walks in the afternoon to canter his mind on what was important. He did this to invigorate his passion and reignite his mission. He was a man on a mission. During those walks, he reminded himself that he would soon be dead and would join Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, and everyone else whose bodies had faded. His only time was now, and he had to make the best of it. Think of yourself as dead, he reminded him. Now take what's left and live it properly. The result? He created a person we still talk about today, an impersonation of a true Stoic. Beware the madness of anger. If there's one thing the Stoics fear, that's the emotion of anger. This is because, as Seneca explained, once anger enters the mind, reason is gone, and all you can do is pray. Keep this thought handy when you feel a fit of rage coming on. It isn't manly to be in rage, said Marcus Aurelius. Rather, gentleness and civility are more human, and therefore manlier. A real man doesn't give way to anger and discontent, and such a person has strength, courage, and endurance, unlike the angry and complaining. Remember, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. In the moment, being angry and yelling may feel like a masculine trait, but the real masculine trait is when you can handle stressful, aggravating, and insulting things while keeping your cool. These are the real men that receive respect from others, because words can't get under their skin. Marcus knew, as the Emperor of Rome, that it's easy to fight back. It's tempting to give them a piece of your mind, but you almost always end up with regret. You almost always wish you hadn't sent the letter. Think of the last time you flew off the handle. What was the outcome? Was there any benefit? Instead, Marcus provided a solution that gives you the pleasure of revenge without taking it. Control yourself fully. When his best friend, Avidius Cassius, tried to take over the empire by force and start a civil war, what Marcus tried to do left everyone speechless. Marcus gave a speech to hundreds of thousands of his soldiers, advocating for peace and love for their brothers, and that no matter the betrayal and disrespect he received from his best friend, he would still try to dissuade him from committing atrocities in the name of power. Thankfully, Avidius was killed by his own generals, who realized that if they didn't act, thousands of people would die for no reason. Do you know what Marcus did with the people who supported Avidius? He said he'd punish anyone who would attack them and showed them their support. That is the concept of Stoic revenge. Be so good, they feel worse than if you were to pay them the same price. A Stoic sees confrontation like a challenge. He thinks, well, this person wants me to get angry, but I won't give them what they want. Who then is invincible? The one who cannot be upset by anything outside their reasoned choice. True invincibility is that no matter what happens to us physically, nothing can reach our minds. This is the mindset that got people like the concentration camp survivor Viktor Frankl through some of his hardest moments. Today, we may not be surrounded by Nazis, but idiots are everywhere. We can't control their behavior, nor should we try. But we can control ourselves and remember life's biggest truth, a truth that Marcus Aurelius expressed clearly in Meditations. When something provokes you, remember that it's your opinion about this thing that really provokes you, and you can remove this judgment right now.